was when I promised myself I was going to do something, like, I don't know, like waking up in the morning to go to the gym or something, and I didn't do it.
A math test?
My math quiz, like yesterday, I got it back and I got an F. So that happened.
I failed in a test before. I needed to, well, I don't completely fail in the class, but I needed to get like a 75% to pass the class, but I got like a 72. Not to pass, to get like an A, and I ended up with a B.
Describe a time when you failed.
I failed my math final.
I was in a math class and I failed my test.
I was in class and I kind of failed my quiz.
Football season. Go! Oh, this morning we said some class.
For me, a time that I failed was probably when I procrastinate something, maybe to go to the gym or to achieve my goals. This is a failure for me.
Volleyball games sometimes.
I failed. My first softball game.
A time when I failed. When I think about give up, when I said about like some stuff around my life or back home.
When I was in 7th grade, I got my first failing grade. At the time, I took a month off of school because I lived overseas, and I was gone from school for a month. And I came back and I thought I was ready to take these tests, so I was just like, let's get it done. I was not ready. I remember looking at the questions and it was about atoms and elements, and I was like, I know this. I apparently did not know this. I failed my test horribly because I didn't take the time to prepare. But even though I failed that test, I didn't fail what I would consider myself, because I took that experience and then I worked really hard to increase my grade. I took that F and eventually got it all the way up to a C by the end of the semester, even though I was out of school for a month. And I learned that nothing's hopeless. You just need to continue trying and continue doing your best, and you will bring yourself up to success no matter what happens.
The time when I failed was I got a really bad grade in my math class, and I learned by having someone help me.
Oh, when I was in Korea, my grade was not that bad, but it's not enough to achieve my dreams. So yeah.
Alright, so when I was playing football, one game prior to the homecoming game, I fractured my collarbone, where I thought just because of a mistake I've made, I fractured it, and I learned from it that I won't give up. I still be practicing. I still went to practice. I kept going to the gym and I kept pushing through, because those minor setbacks are the ones that determine what kind of person are you. And I set myself as a person that keeps working and keeps pushing through, and that's how I learn.
Time when you failed, did you learn anything?
I think a time where I failed was when I was in English and I was making a presentation and I messed up on a couple of words. And I learned from it, because the next time I realized that I should have practiced more before I presented.
Yeah, I learned not to make the same mistakes again.
The time that I failed, I failed many math tests in my life, and no, I'm still bad at math.
What did you learn from it? I learned that that it is very important to keep the promises you do to yourself, because that builds confidence.
Not to never give up.
Maybe I should study, not sleep in class.
I learned that if you push things to do like last minute, the likelihood that you're gonna fail is bigger. So like work early, you know.
Ask the teacher to teach better.
To study more.
To take responsibility and study harder.
What did you learn from your failure?
To be more critical about the way I play.
What did you learn from your failure?
I learned I have to study more if I wanna get a good grade.
What did you learn from your failure?
That if I wanna get somewhere, if I want to achieve something, I need to do things better to achieve it.
What did you learn from your failure?
I learned like how I can do mistakes sometimes, but I can learn after I did it.
To work hard, communicate as a team.
Give up is like the easy way, but it's not the best one.
It affected me negatively. I felt really bad about myself and what I had accomplished. I questioned things I considered like ways I defined about myself. Like I thought I'm a smart person, so why did I get a failing grade? I realized that really grades aren't a method or a measure of how smart you are, but rather as a measure of your effort and of consistent effort. And so I started applying myself in that way for the rest of my education throughout high school and also throughout college. Other things, I realized that if I wanted certain things, I would have to make sacrifices. I quit my job. I was a bagger. I was like young, was probably not supposed to be, but I was working as a bagger and I was working for tips. And I quit that so I could pursue and put more time and effort towards the things that were important to me, which was my grades at the time. It helped me to reason that regardless of anyone else holding me to certain standards, it's about what standards I hold myself to.
I ended up getting my grade up, and yeah.
I kept trying to do better at my grade, but I couldn't.
I learned new ways in which I could work like without using my arm in terms of gym or movements or learning things, like use that time not only to recover but also like learn a new language or I don't know, focus on other things while you recover.
Because I learned that I needed to work harder for the next assignments, and after those assignments I did better because I knew what I needed to work on.
How did it benefit? I got the experience from the benefits.
Positively or negatively? I think it affected me first negatively because I was disappointed at myself for not keeping the promise, but then I felt that I shouldn't punish myself and I should look forward to the next day and to keep my promise the next time.
Negative.
Why?
Because I was trying to get a good grade on math.
Probably negatively. My grades are still good. It didn't really affect anything, but it's probably going to affect my GPA in the long run, so that's not very good.
Both. I mean, I feel like negatively because I really wanted an A, but at the same time I learned that I have to get the grade, get my grades up before, it's finals time.
I didn't really care, to be honest.
Negatively?
Why?
Because I got an F.
How did your failure affect you, positively or negatively?
Negatively.
Why?
Because it made me realize that I don't pay attention in class.
How did your failure affect you, positively or negatively?
Positively, because it helped me grow as a player.
How did your failure affect you, positively or negatively?
The negative way, if I don't have a good grade, I can play in the season. In the positive way, I have to swim.
How did your failure affect you? Was it positive or negative?
So I think that I learned that I had was positive because I could learn from that and to get better the other day, and yeah, I think positive.
How did your failure affect you, positively or negatively?
It's affected me in a positive and a negative way because sometimes I think about my mistakes in the game and I think too much about it, but that's positive too because that made me learn about how I do.
How did your failure affect you, positively or negatively?
It affected me positively because I was able to grow stronger with my team.
How did your failure affect you, positively or negatively?
Positive because I started to be stronger about